Today I'm going to work on a JENN-AIR in-wall double oven that has a 4D22 error. First thing to do is go to your box, circuit 5 and 7, flip switch to remove power from the oven. If you're lucky, you can flip the power back on and you'll find that the error is cleared up and the oven will work. That worked for me once or twice, and now it no longer works. So what we have to do is replace the lower oven fan with one of these, with a new unit. So the first thing we have to do is remove the doors by pulling down on these tabs and then lifting up the door and removing the racks. Got to do that for the top and the bottom just to make the oven lighter, because we're going to have to remove the whole oven out of the wall. Okay, the racks are out, the doors are off. Next we have to take out all of these. See, there's screws in the trim. Got to take out all of these all the way down and around on each side. So I'll take care of those. Screws are all removed. Now there's, in the bottom, there's this bottom vent. So there's 2 screws that have to be removed as well. And then we just take off this bottom vent. Now that the bottom vent is off, next is to pull the whole unit forward out of the opening. So it could be stuck a little bit if it's been there for many years, so you may have to like gently lift up a little bit just to kind of, I'll call it, break the seal around. But then you pull the unit straight out from the wall and then set it on top of something. I've got a couple old milk crates I'm going to set it on top of. Okay, now the unit's out. Now we have to remove this back panel, the top and bottom back panel. So I have to remove all of these different small bolts from the unit. So I'll go ahead and remove those. So here's the back of the oven. Right here is this is the blower unit right here. So next you have to label these wires, is what I typically do, and took a picture of them so I don't forget. But I'll just use a piece of blue painter's tape and just put left and right in this case on there, just so we have it correct. And as you'll see, here is the new unit that will fit right inside there. Oops, I got it. Turn it. There we go. So here's the new unit that will be replaced. Once I've removed the wires and replaced them, then we just need to pop the wire harness out. There's a little plastic piece in here. Got to just pull this out like that. And there's another one over here. Pull this out like that, just so we've got some room to operate with the wire harness. Next we need to, step back so you can get a better angle. There's a brace which runs along top to bottom, which secures top and the lower oven. So we need to remove these screws so that we can ultimately tip up this top oven to be able to get at the lower motor. And I'll show you how that looks in just a minute. So I've got these all labeled, so I'm just going to pull off the power to the blower. I'm also going to, actually, this should be okay. I labeled these, but I think I'll just leave those connected. So now I just got to remove these screws, as I mentioned, so that we can actually tip up the upper oven. Back in a minute. Screws on the side here, which is for the bracing that actually screws into the wall, holds it the oven into the wall. I remove those screws for the top oven, and also this piece here. Also remove this here so that I can have a better space to be able to put a piece of wood in there to block the oven up. Okay, as you can see, I've got the oven tilted up now. Block of wood in there. I should probably cut this so that's a little bit safer, but now I have to just remove these bolts and screws that are inside here, which are holding this, holding the unit on. One more. There's a little wire right here that has to be removed as well, which goes onto the fan motor. Screws removed. I did not have to remove the brace side, so just the 3 front screws. Now this unit is loose, so I can just pull it out. And here's the new one. I can just slide it in place. And actually, I think before I slide it in place, I'm just going to wipe this down a little bit before I put the new one in. Okay, new unit is in. Now I just need to plug in various wires. Plug this one in. Left one. Come on, baby. There we go. And I have to just prop this up, remove the wood block, and start installing the screws back in place again. Another thing, what I've found when I was researching parts for this was there's 2 blowers, one for the lower motor, which is the one I just replaced, one for the upper motor, which is, you can't really see it, but it's up right behind here. They're actually different. So I had to make sure I ordered the right one, so I didn't mess things up. Okay, I reinserted these 3 screws, these screws as well on both sides. Got this brace screwed in again and this plate put back. Now I just need to get the wiring harnesses pushed back in. Wiring harness. The top back plate, I have to add a couple more screws onto it still. And then I'll put in the bottom back plate. And then all that remains is to push this back over and install it into the open wall cavity. It's definitely easier to put it in with 2 people, but it is possible to actually put this in with 1 person with a little, if you're a little bit clever. Got the oven back in the cavity, replaced all the screws, replaced this lower vent cover, grate, for lack of a better word. Now all that's left remains is to put the wire X in, put the doors on, and flip the power switch. Power's back on. It says power lost, please check clocks, and I just have to go into the setup and follow the prompts to reset the time on the clock. Clock temperature set. Now it's time for the real test. So we'll just try to bake, and we'll just do 325 for lower, and woohoo, that's exciting. It's always exciting when you replace a part and it works. That's how I replaced the lower fan on this JENN-AIR oven. Thanks for watching.